There is a photo of you somewhere, maybe in a drawer, maybe on your parents' phone, from the first year of your life. You are in it, apparently. Someone is holding you, or you're sitting on a floor, or you're mid-cry in a crib, and you have absolutely no memory of any of it. Not the room, not the face looking down at you, not what it felt like to be that small. Today, we're opening the file on why. The easy explanation is that your brain wasn't ready to store memories yet, and there's some truth to that, but it's nowhere near the full story. Because here's the thing, babies can form memories. A 2-month-old can learn a trick and remember it days later. A 6-month-old can recognize a face they haven't seen in weeks. So the question isn't why your brain couldn't record your early life. The question is, what happened to the recordings? That answer is more interesting and more unsettling than most people expect. Think of your memory system like a building with a security desk at the front. Every experience you have walks through the front door. The security desk decides which ones get a permanent office, a long-term memory, and which ones get turned away. In your adult brain, that security desk works around the clock. Something happens to you, it gets logged, tagged with context, where you were, how you felt, and filed away. In a baby's brain, the security desk exists, but it's not staffed yet. The part of the brain that runs that desk is called the hippocampus, and it has a section, the dentate gyrus, that in infants just isn't fully wired up. It doesn't finish connecting to the rest of the memory system until somewhere between the ages of 2 and 4. So the baby's brain is taking in experiences constantly. The front door is wide open, but there's nobody at the desk to file anything permanently. This is why a baby can learn to kick a toy hanging over their crib, a famous experiment from the 1980s, and remember the trick 2 days later, but not 2 months later. The short-term system works fine. The long-term filing system just isn't built yet. But that's only the first part of the story. The second part is stranger. Here's where it gets counterintuitive. You'd think that growing new brain cells would help you remember more. More neurons, more storage, more capacity. That's what everyone assumed for decades. But in 2014, 2 neuroscientists in Toronto, Sheena Jocelyn and Paul Frankland, discovered the opposite. In a baby's brain, new neurons are being produced at an extraordinary rate, far more than at any other point in your life. And every time one of those new neurons plugs itself into an existing brain circuit, it doesn't just add to the network, it rewires it. Think of it this way. You've written important notes on a whiteboard. Now, someone walks in, erases parts of your notes, and writes better information over the top. The whiteboard improves, but your original notes are gone. That's what's happening in the infant brain. The very process that's building you, making you smarter, more capable, more developed, is the same process that's erasing your earliest memories. The construction crew is demolishing the old rooms to build new ones. Jocelyn and Frankland tested this directly. When they increased the growth of new neurons in adult mice, those mice started forgetting things they'd already learned. When they slowed down neuron growth in baby mice, those babies held on to memories much longer than normal. More growth, more forgetting. Less growth, more remembering. Your brain didn't fail to save your childhood. It saved it and then tore it down to build the person you are becoming. There's one more layer to this, and it's less about biology and more about something philosophical. Think about the last memory you can clearly recall. You're in it, right? You're the main character. You remember what you saw, what you felt, what you were doing. That kind of memory, where you are the central character in your own story, is called autobiographical memory. And to form it, you need something babies don't have: a sense of self. Most children don't recognize themselves in a mirror until somewhere around 18 to 24 months. Before that, they reach toward their own reflection like it's another kid. Without that, without a stable understanding that you are a continuous person moving through time, the brain can't organize memories around you. Things happen, sensations register, but there's no main character to attach them to, no protagonist, no story. Psychologists Mark Howe and Mary Courage argued this is the real border, not just brain maturity, but the moment a self emerges that can own a memory. And then there's language. Before you could speak, your experiences existed as fragments, a color, a sound, a feeling of warmth or cold. No words to name them, no sentences to connect them, no narrative to hold them together. Researcher Catherine Nelson spent her career studying this connection and found something important. Language doesn't just help you describe memories after the fact, it helps you build them in the first place. Words give your brain the scaffolding to turn raw experience into a story you can retrieve later. Without words, there's no narrative. Without narrative, there's no episode. Without episodes, there's no autobiography. And here's where it becomes personal. There is a version of you, a living, breathing, feeling version of you who existed for roughly 3 years, without language, without a continuous sense of self, without the brain architecture to hold on to what they lived through. That version of you had a life. They were held, they cried, they laughed at things, they were afraid of things, they formed bonds with people. They experienced the world with a raw intensity that you, as an adult, are neurologically incapable of replicating, and you will never know what any of that was like. Not because you forgot, because your brain decided that who you became was more important than what that earlier version of you lived through. And this is where it gets philosophically uncomfortable. If your sense of self didn't exist before 18 months, and your brain physically destroyed the memories from before that, then the baby in your oldest photo isn't a younger version of you, not in any meaningful, continuous sense. That baby is someone your brain replaced. And it turns out, even the age when your personal story begins isn't fixed. Researcher Chi Wang at Cornell found that cultures emphasizing personal storytelling tend to produce earlier first memories, sometimes as young as 2.5. Cultures that focus less on individual narratives see first memories arriving at 4 or even later. The age your autobiography begins isn't just biology. It's partly a story your culture taught your brain to start telling. Now, some of you listening right now are thinking, but I do remember something from before 3. And you might. Trauma has a way of force encoding memories past the normal barriers. The brain treats survival-critical information differently, but for most of us, those first 3 years are a locked room. Not empty, the room was full. Somebody just changed the locks and threw away the key. There's a question worth sitting with here, and it isn't a comfortable one. If your brain deleted your first 3 years to build the person you are now, erased the memories, rewired the circuits, replaced the self that lived those years with the self that's listening to this sentence, are you the person who lived those years? Or are you the one who replaced them? The full dossier on infantile amnesia, every study, every mechanism, every implication, is linked below. It's free. Next time, we're opening the file on what your dog actually sees when they look at you. The answer involves a hormone, a 10,000-year-old experiment, and a bond that neuroscience is only now learning how to measure.